still coming in from the waiting room. So if we want to give it about a minute or two longer, and then I'll hand it over to you guys.
Thank you.
I don't see anybody else in the waiting room, so if you guys want to go ahead and begin, and I'll let them in as they come. I have counted 3 of you guys, so if someone else slipped in when a bunch were coming in, just let me know.
Okay, thanks. We'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to thank everybody for being here today, and we'll let the TAC committee introduce themselves. I'll go ahead and start. My name's Anlin Purden. I'm with Hazelwood Home Health and with the Home Health Association.
My name
Hi
is
everyone, I'm Evan Reinhardt. I'm the Executive Director for the Kentucky Home Care Association.
Eldis Perez from Green River District Home Health and the Kentucky Home Care Association as well.
My name is Otha Solfridge. I'm with Horizon Home Health, and this is actually my first meeting.
Welcome. Okay,
You new to the board?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to drop my email in the chat. If you don't mind to just send me an email so I have contact information for you, I would greatly appreciate it. I apologize. I did not know we had a new member.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
so do we have a quorum today with the 4 of us? Evan?
Yeah, with the 3, I think we're still expecting Susan, but we have 3 of the 5.
Okay.
I'm here.
Oh, there we go. We got all 4.
All righty. So next, is there the minutes were emailed out if everybody got them and had a chance to look over them. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the April 19th meeting?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. On to old business. Evan, I'll let you take over if you don't mind.
Sure. All right. Just touching first on home health reimbursement rates. I know DMS said that our recommendation was under consideration, so we just wanted to follow up and see if there was any additional information at this point, and if there's anything you need from the industry or what further conversations we can have to move that idea forward. All right, hearing no response, we'll keep that on the old business, but definitely a top priority for us. So we hope we can have some further dialogue on that with DMS as we move along here in 2022. Second topic, so similar, we're under the understanding that publishing the supply reimbursement rates and making them standardized, as well as adding supply only to DME was also under consideration. So wanted to touch on that and see if there is any additional feedback at this time.
This is Lee Geis. I can tell you on the supply only policy change, we're still working through all the steps, lining up all of the things that have to be changed. So it's still in progress.
Thanks, Lee. As always, let us know if you need anything from our end.
I did want to take a minute to add, this will be my last TAC meeting. I'm retiring in August. So it's old business because it's about retirement. Thank you all very much.
Well, congratulations, Lee. And we will miss your expertise and your presence on the TAC meeting for sure. All right, on to C under old business. So the home and community-based spending plan, adding home health and private duty. That was a recommendation a ways back, I think, beginning of the year. So we just wanted to see if, I know things were at sort of a pause given budget situation internally for the administration, but just wanted to see if there's been any further discussion at this point. I think Pam Smith, you might have been the point of contact on that.
Yeah, Evan. So we are in the process of modifying the spending plan, but it is to add the 10% rate increase that was included in the approved budget. And so that will exhaust all of the funds. So there will not be an option for adding home health and private duty nursing into that, because the budget was very specific. It actually only covered 5 of the 6 waivers, and Model 2 was left out of that as well. But that 10% increase exhausts all of the ARPA projected funds. So we will not be able to modify it to add home health and private duty nursing.
So all of those funds are going to waiver services, is that correct?
It's the 10% that we were directed by in the budget that was approved. It's the 10% increase that we were directed to apply to 5 of the 6 waivers. That 10% exhausts all of those, those funds. Now, it still has to go to CMS for final approval, but initial indications from conversations with CMS is that it will be approved.
All right, thank you for the information there. I think we'll take that back and have some discussions, but we'll probably have some feedback for you on that particular element. And then final topic, publication of supplies limits for MCOs and standardizing the supply quantity limits. Just checking to see if there's an update on that as well.
There isn't a true update on that, Evan, other than in looking at what the request has been, the expectation would be for the MCOs to work with the home health agencies to ensure that they had this information. I know that that's been a challenge and probably the expectation that DMS require that, but what I would recommend that this be something that the MCOs take back that are on this call and are within the 6 MCOs that we have, and how to best supply that information to the home health agencies, so that you aren't surprised or you're able to correctly bill for those services.
And I think that's an acceptable resolution on our end, Angie. We're just looking for the information, right? As long as we have it, we'd like it to be standardized and we like it to be required just so they follow through on it. But if they'll get us that information, I think that solves at least most of the issue.
It's kind of challenging to standardize it among 6 because of how different processes that they may have aligned, but I can certainly recommend that the MCOs work with the home health agencies in what the supply limits are. Now I will, and they'll probably come back and say, well, it's not 100% this, and I can understand that because it may not, because each situation is different depending on what the type of supply is. And it may need more, may need less, depending, and they may be different, but that's where I would like to take this at this point and see what we can do on that side of things.
You know, I think from our perspective, I mean, everybody jump in if you disagree, but you know, if there's a rationale for the limits that they have, you know, that's something we're not necessarily going to be opposed to right out of the gate. It's just everything's behind a curtain right now, and we can't get a sense of exactly what the limits are and, you know, how to bill correctly. So it'd be great if we could just get some more transparency.
Right, and that's all it is. I mean, if we know what the limits are, then we know how to properly place those orders. But right now is we place an order and then we get a denial because we went over the limit that we didn't know what that limit was. So if at least we know what it is, we could educate our patients of how many they could get or whatever items it is, because we know, and we could work with our patients and, you know, inform them of those limits as well.
And just
So-
since we've been down this road before, I know Humana has said that their information is proprietary and that they're not going to give it to us. And I've had a conversation with WellCare, and I was told that if they told us what the limits were, then they would just give us an opportunity to defraud them because we would give the max. And so I was like, so we just get to hit a moving target, or, you know. I was like, I think that ends up well for them, that if their limit's 10 and we've given 20, it's like, oh, well, you know, so it's.
Yeah, and that's not the home health agency. That's not our goal. That's not what we do. We you know, we have to serve the patients. And like I say, it's just going to be an educational team. Once we find out what the limits are for each NCO, we could educate the patient and say, hey, this is how much you could get per the insurance you have. So it's not about doing anything but serving those patients. That's our goal.
I don't know about anybody else, but I don't make any money on supplies. So like giving out more that I'm not going to make my money back on, even at the rates they give me, it's not my goal at all.
It's not our goal either. So I guess, you know, in summary, is it a safe assumption that by the next TAC meeting or 30 days from now, we should have an all-inclusive list of all the supplies from every MCO? Angie, is that a fair, where we are?
Yeah. Is that possible?
That'd be great.
You're muted, Angie.
Sorry, I'm having a roof put on my house, so I'm hoping you don't hear that too much. If you see me do this, I'll think that's because it feels like the ceiling's coming down. But anyway, the expectation would be within the next 30 days that the MCOs do reach out and figure out the best way to supply this information. And I will be following up with them as well.
And I would say, Angie, we reserve the right to come back at the next TAC meeting to come back and show the variances, because I know exactly what we're going to get is bare minimal. And at that point, we will probably need your intervention.
Well, I mean, and not knowing, you know, what from some of your statements that that's proprietary information and whatnot, and I'm assuming that's part of the issue, that they don't want to potentially share that and compare or whatever, but there should be some type of semblance of which they can give you a high level. This is what is typically, but again, I will, and looking at from Humana's, they're asking for examples of claims that are denied for quantity limits. So that may be a good way to start for all the MCOs and to kind of get that information. And I think for now, yes, obviously as a TAC, you can bring these issues back up. And but hopefully we can come to some semblance of acceptance on how to best get the information that you need.
And I would, my counter to that would be, you know, when we first brought this up years ago, we did send denials and we still didn't get an answer. I mean, we've had to run around for about 5 years now. So, you know, let's start with give us what you got, and we'll compare it and see if it's what we need.
Hello, this is Kathleen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm representing from Anthem, and I did want to let you know that we did submit a supply list on the last request. We did submit that, and we'll be happy to submit it again if need be.
And just so, and I don't remember your list, and I don't remember which one that gave us very vague information. But a list of covered supplies without the quantities is just a list of supplies. You know, we're interested in both.
Yes, and the Anthem list did have both. It had code, description, and quantity. And we'll be happy to supply that again.
If you could send it to me, I'll be happy to send that to the TAC as a whole. I'll drop my email in the chat.
Thanks, Aaron. And I put my email in there too, if you want to send that over my way. And Angie, appreciate your help here. And I think just, you know, you can tell there's a bit of frustration on our part just because we feel like this is a pretty straightforward request. So, you know, I think we'd like to get this buttoned up and like to avoid, you know, having to go to the legislative route or, you know, do something like that if we can. So, you know, we'd like to try to wrap it up, you know, in the next 30 days and then see where we are from there.
And this is Kathleen again, Anthem. Would you submit that request through the regulatory? I think it would need to go through there and then we'll send it back.
I can do that. It will also
Thank
probably be
you.
discussed in our operations meetings, but yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
I believe that sums up old business. So,
Yep.
Evan, would you like to do the new business too?
So on the new business side, we wanted to make sure we had any and all necessary points of contact for an agency transition. You know, we've had one agency here start the acquisition process here in the last couple months, and they've just been trying to ensure there's no gap in care for patients, both, you know, home health, waiver, EPSDT, special services. So just wanted to make sure we have any and all necessary points of contact for a situation like that. So I don't know if DMS has a point person or if, you know, there's several people we need to reach out to, but wanted to raise that as a topic of discussion and see if we can get some points of contact there.
I can give you for waiver, it's going to be the branch manager, which is Laura Presley. So I'll put her email in the chat.
Evan, this is Erin. You are also all welcome to always email me if you have questions, and I can get those out to the appropriate staff. If I
Thanks,
don't
Erin.
have contact, I'll find it out and then we'll learn together.
Perfect.
And just because I'm sorry, I didn't hear who was that you, Aaron?
Yep.
Okay.
I would think that provider enrollment would be your main contact.
That's a good point, Lee. Yeah, especially for
Within
any,
DMS.
yes, for the for any questions related to the changeover of the numbers or the acquiring of the new number. Laura, for waiver, you would want to and this I think would be true of any of the other programs. Contact about, you know, ensuring that freedom of choice and that all of that documentation is in order. But if it's related to the actual getting the provider number certifications, then it would be provider enrollment would be your main contact.
All right. Thank you for that.
All righty, so I guess that brings us to number 6, our general discussion. There's updates from the MCOs.
Do we have any of the MCOs on the line that would like to give an update at this time?
And this is Kathleen with Anthem. I don't have any updates at this time.
This is Jay with WellCare. I don't have the updates at this time either.
This is April 11th with Humana. No current updates here.
Good morning. This is Anna Page with Passport. We do not have any updates as well.
Do we have an Aetna or a United rep?
Okay, we'll move on to any updates from DMS.
So I can give an update on EVV, and then Commissioner Lee was unable to be here, so I have an update from her that Lee, you may jump in on and be able to help me with. But EVV is currently in open procurement, so there is not a lot of updates I can share other than CMS is allowing for a states to apply for good faith exemption to push the mandatory. It was January 1, 2023 that we had to be compliant for home health services, but we will be applying for that good faith exemption to give us a year additional, similar to what we did for the personal care services, but it remains an open procurement. So any questions about that would need to go to Jennifer Taylor, and I can put her email address in the chat. The other update was the basic health plan that we was planned for a January 1, 2023 date. Has been pushed out. And Lee, I don't know if you have some additional information to add to that about any
the only thing I
other
could,
dates or
the only thing I could add on that is that it's been pushed out to at least 1/1/2024 as far as implementation goes.
so sadly Lee won't be here to see it through because she's done a tremendous amount of work on that. So we'll have to share that with her in her retirement. We'll still have to, because she has really been working hard on that. So
Thank you, Pam, and I'll look for it on Facebook.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. So I think we skipped from EVV that the state would be applying for the
good faith extension
for 2024. And then what has been pushed off till 2024? I think that, or was that, or we're still talking about EVV?
No, it's the basic health plan.
Oh, basic health plan, sorry.
They both end up having the same dates or the same anticipated dates.
Okay.
And I also will share, Lee, you reminded me when you said Facebook, we have new, Medicaid has new Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram sites that have just come up. So I will share those as well in the chats that are new. And I cannot think of her, Angie or Lee, if you can help me, her title just completely left my brain, but we've recently started those. So look for information to be shared on those sites. That way you can get Medicaid specific. Sometimes it gets lost in the larger CHFS sites, but these are specific to Medicaid. So
Beth Fisher, our communications.
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you, Angie. I couldn't, her title was like just completely leaving my brain. So
That's right.
Okay, and if that moves us to supply only for pediatric patients.
Yeah, we were kind of keeping this is somewhat old business, but just keeping this on the agenda to see if there are any updates on the Medicaid side of things. It was a topic that was raised and just wanted to make sure we're staying on top of it.
can you give me a little background on how this would be different than the supply only, moving supply only to DME?
So this was specific question just in terms of access. I think that it was actually Angie and one of her colleagues had mentioned that pediatric patients in particular were having some trouble accessing supplies. So, we had kind of given our feedback, and that's what led to the discussion on the supply reimbursement change and adding supply only to DME. But we left this on the agenda to make sure that, there's anything we can do from an association standpoint or just, alerting providers to make sure that, that they're doing to try to help with the access issue for pediatric patients.
Okay, thanks, Evan.
You're welcome.
And I think we did determine from the agencies we spoke to that do supply only that all of them do pediatric
Yep.
as well. Right.
Yep.
There's nothing on that.
Yep.
And
Hearing none so far.
we'll move on to recommendations.
And
There's
I
that-
don't think we have any.
I was
at
going to
this
say, I
point.
don't think we have any at this point, do we?
Nope,
Okay.
Not for this meeting.
And MAC meeting representation. What?
I think that was on there from the original recommended agenda. So, our representative is Susan. I think we're just want to confirm that her position as an appointed MAC representative is confirmed, and she'll be our representative for the next cycle.
Alrighty.
I think we put that on the template agenda to
Right.
just confirm whether or not you'll have a representative at each MAC. Because then that way, when they go through, recommendations or updates, I can say, oh, well, they're not going to have a representative here this meeting. So I think that's just more for my knowledge to know whether or not to be looking for one of you guys or not.
Yep, Susan will definitely be there, and I'll be there to just discuss, the outcome of the meeting, and no recommendations, obviously, this time.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, so our next meeting is set for August 16th. There's nothing else.
We will probably need to reschedule that, Anlin, just because that's during the KHCA annual conference.
Oh,
So
okay.
we can I'll touch base with Aaron offline and try to find a date where we can all make it to reschedule.
Reschedule. All right, well, if there's nothing else, Lee, congratulations on your retirement. Hope you have
Thank
plenty
you
of
very
time to
much.
spend with family and friends, do all the
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Oh,
Thank
some of this has been fun. It's been a pleasure working with you all. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Thank
Lee.
you. Thank you for
Appreciate
all
all
you've
your help,
done.
Lee.
All right.
All right. I don't know, do we need a motion to adjourn or no?
I'll make
will
that.
Make a motion. I'll second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
You too.